2025, 70.3 Michigan. This one's taking place September 14th. This is exactly what you're going to get on race day. It's not the land of the big sky, but all my East Coast friends, you are definitely on your way there. So definitely wide open spaces out here, definitely exposed, which you can clearly see. Not a tree to be seen in a lot of places out here, and that is the lake out here. So swim is a lake, swim, bike, rolling, and run rolling classification as well. High air temperature 85, low is 56, average water temperature 65. You've seen there in the water little videos that have scrolled by over here that most of them are wearing wetsuits. Happy days, happy days. Hopefully that is luck for you as well. It is in Lake Michigan, so this is our swim. Let's dive in immediately out here. First thing to note, we do have the tricky triangle. For those of you that are familiar with me and the channel, we are not big fans of the tricky triangle. They're one of the more challenging layouts of the swim. They looks pretty straightforward, but it is not for reasons which we will dive into in a second here. This is not a wave start. This is a time trial start. Athletes are going to be released in little spurts here and there, right? And as you go out, it's going to be a straight shot out to our first turn. It's going to be a tight left turn out here on race day. Because it is a straight shot, athletes are going to bundle up. They're going to be in bunches. They're going to be battling for position. Allow those angry swimmers to kind of set the pace a little bit, especially for the first 100 or 200. They will gladly do so. Let them carry that out. As you progress down, probably to about this spot right here, things are going to start to break up a little bit for you. Faster swimmers are going to start to catch up to you. If that is the case, make sure you hop onto those feet for a couple of seconds if you can't hold it. Maintain your pace and watch your pace. Be honest with you. Be really honest with what you can realistically hold for this stretch. If it's too much, it's too much. You need to back it down. Tight turn right here. That means everybody is going to be bunched up no matter what. People are going to be freaking out. If you do a regular turn, you go out here, you take a left, right? Even if you do that 90-degree turn, right? It is not a huge deal. Athletes are going to be really caught up in going here and exactly going back over there. Um, it's a sharp left turn. Don't overthink it. Even if you kind of overdo it a little bit, you can definitely get yourself back on track. And sometimes that might be the better thing to do if you find yourself really, really battling up through this little section over here, and you just decide, I'm going to take this turn a little bit wider, right? You're going to have cleaner water. If that is good for you, great. If you're a stronger swimmer, might not be a bad idea. You're going to have to see what brings the moment to you on race day, and you are going to have to react to that. So if you are a stronger swimmer, you might be comfortable battling it out. If you find yourself expending a ton of unnecessary energy, might not want to do that. So pros and cons to kind of both ways, staying on the buoy lines or not. So kind of gauge that in the moment. This long straightaway is going to be the thing that everyone overdoes on this race. It's just, when you have the rectangle or the square course, you have some more immediate feedback saying, hey, slow down, slow down. On this one, there is no such case, right? You would just have a long stretch out here on this right triangle. Because of this long straightaway, athletes, check in with yourself. Be aware of what's happening around you. Be aware of your pace and your effort out there. Big, 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 big tip right there. All right. Athletes routinely overdo it on this stretch. Be careful. Again, we have another tight turn over here, which means that people will be bunched up. People are, if they have a couple of legs between them, they will find that they get pretty close together on that turn. That will freak some people out, and they'll want to separate immediately. So if you are a confident swimmer, or you're just, not worried about open water at all, what you would like to do is you would like to take this turn a little tighter and try to find someone's legs immediately right there. They're going to give you a free rate of speed, and you're going to get up to speed a little bit faster for no cost. If you're a weaker swimmer, don't worry about it. People are going to catch up to you. Just get back into your rhythm. Speaking of rhythm, that's going to be the pattern up until the finish out here. So a couple of big traps out here. First one, watch out for people setting the pace early, setting the tone a little too aggressive. That turn's going to light people up a little bit. Here, this is going to definitely set a lot of people off. It's going to be a huge, huge, huge red flag out there on race day, so be careful. This straightaway right here, you're going into the finish line. Not uncommon for athletes to really pick the pace up on this last side. Watch out for that. Just be careful out there. That is our swim done and dusted. Hopping out of the water, we have our bike course out here. So follow the little line out here. We're going to go south first. We're going to do a little turnaround section over there. We're going to get back to the transition area at about 13.3, 13.2 miles, right? And then we're going to head north past the Crystal Lake, around it up top. We're going to loop back around, hit our second turnaround before we come all the way back down to our finish line. So what does that look like in real time? First, let's talk about aid stations out here. This is our course out here, and you can see that aid stations are clearly marked 1, 2, and then 3 for us on race day. We have three real opportunities. The biggest one that you do have the potential to miss is kind of this one out here, and we'll talk about that in a second. But just wanted to get everyone aware of where the aid stations were before we talk official business. So this course carries about 1,300 feet, 1,400 feet of elevation out here on race day. Max gradient is going to be 6%. If you're looking for that max gradient, it's going to come right after you pass the transition zone, or right about the transition zone when you're going back out again. So there is that to worry about. But other than that, right, a lot of time out here. So these first 11 miles, we're only got 233 feet. Outside of that, in this section over here, you got 198 feet of elevation gain. In this section back through here, you have 200 feet of elevation gain. So you know exactly where the elevation points are going to be on race day. They are painfully obvious, and everyone should know where they are coming from, the max part of the elevation course down here. What that means for you is a couple of different things. Let's set this up really fast. Section 1, Section 2, Section 3, and even this section over here. These are kind of our go sections out here. These are our sections that we are really concerned with aero. We're really concerned with getting our rate of speed up and all of that fun stuff. Let's talk about wind for a second on race day. This is our area right here. This 5, we're going to go a little south, and then we go north, and we zigzag our way up through over here, and we turn around back in here. I got it zoomed out pretty far, so just watch that number 5 out here, and you can see that things do change pretty frequently out here on race day, or just not race day, but they do have the ability to change out here. Wind is rolling pretty much every single day. It's going left, right, up, down. If that is your race, then things are going to have to change for you. If this is our race, things are going to change for you. Also, keep in mind that 8 a.m. is a little bit different than 11 a.m. It's a little different than 2 p.m. Wednesday, same thing. We got our 8 a.m., 11 a.m., we got our 2 p.m., right? Slightly different for everyone. So what you need to be doing is tracking weather leading up to the race. It's going to have a pretty big impact out here on race day. This is our power analysis. I'm going to take away speed because it's a little too busy out here. Watch our power guy on the bottom right. This is our wind forecast, right? And we'll talk about what the forecast is in a second for this little predicted model out here. But as we start to go out, we're going to have a crosswind turning into a headwind, and that's going to last for a long time out here. We do have a crosswind turning back up to a headwind as we zig and zag our way up top over here before we experience a nice crosswind hitting the turnaround. It's going to turn around. It's going to hit us from the other side, and then once we get up here, it is going to be happy days to the finish line with that tailwind. All right, so that is kind of the perfect scenario that you can have on this course on race day. This one, I believe, has about 4 miles an hour of wind, which if you just saw the weather patterns over there, we would say that that is total malarkey out there, and I would have to agree with you. Also, just because the wind is coming from one direction doesn't mean that that's the direction that it is coming from. It's going to swirl, it's going to shift, it's going to constantly be moving. It's going to be one of those things that you have to be aware of and monitor that on your own. All right. So power. Let's get rid of speed here. Power. Let's talk about the first couple of sections out here. Section number 1 that we highlighted on the elevation charts, 205 watts, 202 watts. Oh, and this athlete does have a 245 FTP and weighs about 155 pounds. All right, so kind of gauge what you want to do based off of that. All right, so this, like we said, 205 and 202, 205, 203, somewhere in there. It's pretty steady out here. What you'll find on this course is a lot of athletes really overdo it on this section. The first section up to the turnaround over here. And the turnaround, if you're paying attention, right, is located right there on our map. As we turn around, power should stay relatively similar throughout out there. And what you should notice is our little jump spot right here. Yes, we have an increase in power. Yes, I do think that is accurate. The reason for that being is this is our FTP line. If I can draw it right, that's about our FTP line, maybe a little lower. You are below it for much of that, right? Shaking it up a little bit and increasing your power up incrementally, not always, but every once in a while. In this case, we do it 1, 2, 3, 4 times out on the course, not a huge deal. Not a huge deal. I would encourage athletes to stand a little bit if they're not overdoing it for that first 11 miles. Not stand up the entire way, but don't be afraid to stomp on the pedals for a couple of revolutions, get right back down, get settled into business, right? Because after that, you do have a steady spot out there. Yeah, it slowly increases, right? You steadily have to do that. And your elevation steadily drops right here. You do have a slight tick up. That explains that one right there. If you look at our next big challenge out here, again, you're going above FTP. You can only do that if you're hitting your zones up until this point. If you are riding at FTP, you won't be able to do a little surge out there, and that will be a big indication that you're riding too hard early on. Hint, hint, nudge, nudge, right? You're going to have a second indication right here. You're riding too hard. You cannot go up to where you need to go for race day success out here, right? And then you're going to settle into a nice steady pace right here before it ramps up again. A couple of quick surges out there before you are back to business right here. Yes, your power steadily drops over this section right here. That's because you do climb and then you descend. Then you steadily rise it on the way back in. Finished off with a couple of surges if everything is going great. Those surges don't actually have to happen, but that is just what we got here in a perfect scenario out here. Scrolling up to our time and out, or let's go to zones first. Scrolling to our zones at 70.3, you got a lot of time in Z3. 2 hours and 8 minutes of our 240 minutes out here. We got 17 minutes in zone 4, 23 seconds in zone 5 for this 6-zone model. And then we got about 11 and a half minutes in zone 1 and zone 2. So time analysis, what does that look like for us on this course if we decrease our drag? Improving it 1% is going to net us about 28 seconds. Power, if we increase that, that's going to also do about 38 seconds. Weight, if we drop slightly, saving 8 seconds, we also lose a little bit there. So rolling resistance, if we decrease that or make it a little better, we're going to save a whopping 6 seconds out there. Drag, you want to improve that. Power, you want to improve that. And believe it or not, rolling resistance out here, you are going to want to increase or make that better as well. We usually don't really focus on that one, but on this course, it is definitely needed. You should be making it a little bit of a priority more so than on other courses out here. But of course, you want to increase that drag. You want to improve your rolling, or you're not really, you want to improve your power out here, your FTP. If you have a couple of pounds to lose, definitely think about that. If this athlete should be racing at a 145, you can drop it down and say, all right, this is what they would realistically be saving. The reason that it's not a lot is because this athlete's already right around race weight out there. So dropping everything back down, you have a big opportunity to save in a couple of easy places out here. Aero is going to be a huge priority for the bike out here. All right, and that's the bike. So now I can find my right tab over here. As we scroll over, we find our run course. Run course is right here. You're going to start things off by actually traveling to the finish line, right? In a weird twist of fate. Do a little turnaround out there, and then you're going to zigzag your way down. You're going to loop all the way around before heading back up almost to the finish line as well, and then you loop back around again, and you are going to head to glory on race day. What does that look like in terms of aid stations and things like that? We have a load of aid out here on race day. We got aid stations right there, aid stations here, here. I would assume that that's double-sided out here, and this one are also double-sided. If that's the case, then it's going to look something like this on race day. The biggest gap that you need to worry about just straight up here is this one right here and this one right here on race day. You have a little bit of time without aid. Not the end of the world out here, so you're looking at about 4.4 to 6.5, and that is this little stretch up through here. Unless this one is a dual-sided aid station, and then you get a little bit more aid right there. So that is something to check out on the race course when you do check in. Just make sure you ask aid stations, look at the map, things like that. This is the best we got so far. All right, so aid, all that. And let's talk about elevation, which is 232 right now. 232 means it's not a lot of gain out there, which means you're probably going to be limited by what you did on the bike out here. If you stayed in the aero position the entire time, didn't get out at all, you're probably going to pay the price for the first couple of miles, probably the whole race, actually, So don't be afraid to get out of that arrow position every once in a while on the bike and set your muscles up for success. If you don't, you're going to get dinged big time. You're just going to be unable to get into that running form, running position properly. So as we continue out here, we shift to our satellite mode out here. Let's get a little nitty gritty. As we start out, this is the section that we will go up, and we have a little turnaround point over there. You can see not a lot of shade out here. We are going to experience our first little coverage areas right through here, but then opens up again. So a little bit of coverage here and there. You're going to go over the little boardwalk, the little plank section out there. Make sure you're watching your footing right there before you loop back up. And I'm sure you're noticing not a lot of coverage really anywhere out here on race day. That means that you are, yes, open to the elements. You are exposed. If you're hot starting the run and it's a hot day, you better proactively start cooling yourself off as best as possible. If you don't listen to your body and slow down and doing all the things you should be doing on race day, this is going to be a really challenging course for you. A lot of athletes select these easier run courses, which are designed to kind of get some PRs, faster times out here, but they can get slower times just the same, right? They are just as challenging as hillier or more challenging courses because you got to leave your ego at the door. You got to be able to check in with yourself and say, hey, am I realistically able to hold this pace? And if it's not, then it's not. It's no big deal. You just got to, you got to take a step back. You got to say, what's going on with my nutrition, my heart rate, my cadence, my power, whatever it is, right? What's going on? What happened before this? What have I been doing or what have I not been doing? The second you figure it out, try to change it. It's not going to get fixed in the moment, but it will get fixed, So running form is going to be a huge, huge thing out here. Another popular strategy for this course is probably going to be tagging to the aid stations. And what I mean by that is tag one aid station, you walk through it, get ready to go. Go to the next aid station, walk through that one. Go to the next aid station, repeat, 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 repeat. On these flatter courses, I really like the interval approach. Kind of break things up, makes it a little bit more manageable. If you made it this far in the video, thank you. Give a like, give a comment down below. If you want any individual coaching advice, resources, things like that, please reach out. Contact info is down below. Thanks for everyone watching the video. Hope everyone has a great race day on this 2025 edition. Good luck, everybody.